Hello, good morning, Nilsa. Hello, hello, hello. I see you. I know it's so early for you. You look so beautiful. You have so many different glasses and you're on mute.
Okay, did you get my recording? Thank you. Good morning.
There you go. Good morning, good morning. Are you ready to
Yes,
get like 25 minutes of absolute immersion in your talk?
yes.
First of all,
I'm not
how is
I-
it?
I'm not gonna read anything. It's just I'm gonna let it flow because the first time I did I was reading.
Ah, perfect.
When I did it in the classroom, I was reading from a word. I mean, I can do that.
I see. Yeah, so the, and this is going to be interesting with the script, right? Sometimes, like I don't want to be against scripts. It's when you speak from the heart that it just resonates so much more. Right? But there's an elegant balance between riffing and coming from the heart and not making your point and scripting and being a robot. And
Okay.
then there's the middle, right? And we're always trying to find the middle. So I love that you first read it and now did not. So you feel that contrast, and the more savvy you become in this skill, and the better you start to understand, like how do you tell the story from your story library, pick it and put it in your story roadmap. Then that is the goal, right? So you become savvy with it. So absolutely love it. And how is it for you to record it?
No, that's another thing that when we do the 6 month program is how do we record? I know there's a little light on the computer. We should be looking at the light, but then we start looking at the people. And then you start rolling your eyes up, thinking, and you start doing all these, you start touching your face and your hair. So there's another learning level there to be a great speaker.
I
That
love it.
we're doing this, and then we're not looking at the light, we're looking at the person. And when you
Yeah.
see the video, it's not. But I do know that Tony and probably Dean have teleprompters and they're going this way and they're
Yeah. So let's dive into your story and just to answer this specific part. And you can solve this with one sentence. That's going to be so fun for you. It's called a pre-frame. Okay, you might want to write this down. It's a pre-frame. And a pre-frame is that you frame something before you start saying it, but you say, this is the meaning we give it. So, for example, what Tony does is every time you're confused, you're close to a breakthrough. That's what he says, right? So
yes.
now you start to see, oh, I'm confused. But we already said his pre-frame was confusion is good. So now you don't need to go away from it. So let's just say, and I do this all the time. And the more you start to be aware of what happens on the back end, the more you start to look at me with different eyes. So what I say sometimes is, I'm from the Netherlands, and for the people out there who are listening to the grammar, what I can tell you is you will find something that's incorrect. And the meaning that I give it is, or I make a joke like this is what I do on purpose because I want to show you that you don't need to be perfect as well. So now I say every time you hear a grammar mistake, you can feel better about yourself. It's a pre-frame. I can also think I should learn my whole script perfectly grammar-wise because otherwise I'm not ready yet. The same with you, right? I also don't always look at this. It depends on what I'm teaching, right? I love to put you all here on gallery and I'm looking at everybody in the eyes. I love that. I don't always look like this. When I'm riffing and I'm just doing a monologue, I do it right here. And you see it in a different way. But when I look you in the eyes, like in the eyes, I look like this. And it's just a little different. So what I always do is I say, I always love to put myself on gallery because I love this interaction. Okay. So I can look you in the face. So now I'm saying every time I don't look you in the eyes, I'm looking at you. So it's a pre-frame. I say this behavior means this. So now you
Okay.
are in control of the meaning. Does it make sense?
Okay. Makes sense.
So yeah, so you can use a pre-frame to set the standard from the beginning and say, this is what it means, and this is my behavior. All right. So Your full talk, 15 minutes, woman. That was incredible. Your timing was spot
15,
on.
15, 15.
15 minutes. Yeah. So, did you watch yourself back?
I did.
What did you think?
Uh,
Three things that were absolutely brilliant.
what I think is brilliant is that I'm doing the three. So did you get to watch it?
Yes.
Okay, so I changed three sets of eyewear, taking them through the story. I put three of these, so three. At the end, I wrap it up with three. The thing is that it doesn't, it's not practiced enough and it's not written that I have before tomorrow, I need to make sure that I don't babble and I say exactly what I need to say. That's right now because I mean, I'm less frightened than other times because I feel very comfortable in the space. But you know, I've done this thing. I've repeated this pitch. I've done like 4 or 5 of these things, and then I forget to mention Oliver Twist. And I think Oliver Twist and Annie is part of that scene and that I start with. And
Yeah.
my huge ego in the middle. It's like it's a journey that I go through to get to my transformation. So now I could transform. That's what I was trying to do there. Now, if
Yeah.
I'm getting into too much personal stuff, talking about my parents, can I cut that? But it's just where I picked it up instead of picking it up in the middle of my life where it's all about Gucci and Chanel and I'm, and all the newspapers showing up and there was an emptiness there. But that could be for when I start selling stuff online. Because
Yeah.
there was a
Yeah.
period of my life that was important to me.
Yeah. What I can see is, first of all, I see an incredible um improvement since your last version. It's
Okay.
so good, right? So you're really, really taking the steps. And what I love, by the way, I will share my screen. I made this for you.
Are we gonna run it or no?
This is you. There you are.
Okay.
And when I was listening, I was filling this in and I want to fill this in with you. Okay. So
Okay.
what I noticed is you used the different story blocks. Your mom got sick. You went to Africa. There was a financial crash. You went on different planes. Like there were a lot of different stories. And what I really love about this is that we get a fuller range of who you are as a person. So I really think that you chose really well. What I did feel as a listener is that I did not completely see the three steps that got me from one place to another. So what
Exactly.
I'm,
That's the confusion
yeah.
right
Yeah, so what I'm thinking is I would pick one story that is going to be your main story. So for example, will you be there today live with the implementation lab?
there. What time? That's at 11?
Yeah,
11? Yeah, I'm gonna be working, but I'll connect. I have,
super. Because Richie shared his story last time and he's going to do it again. And we're going to dissect this with everybody. So what he does is he picks the kidnap story and then he has sub stories to it. And what you did is you have one story, then a second, and then a third. And what I would suggest now with you as well is pick one that's going to be your main through line that helps people also focus on the story. Because what we don't need is we don't need to understand what you did in your life. We just want to understand who you are and go through a transformation, right? So, what I would do is pick one of those. Like your mom got sick. Honestly, Nilsa, when you shared that story last time in our group, I felt like goosebumps all over.
with the car chase. You want me to start with that? I eliminated that.
It was so beautiful. And I'm not saying it's right or wrong. It's when you go into a little bit more depth of one scene, it creates more connection than all different ones. So what I would do, and you can still do the other things. Let me just give you an idea, because it doesn't always have to be the same amount of time per story. You can say something like this. For example, this. Okay. Mm, thank you, Laura. You did great with the introduction, something like this. And then I got here today. Let me think of something for you. Who here is excited to go on a journey today? A journey from A to B. This journey will be right here in this room. But it was 2000, blah, blah, blah. When as a 4-year-old, I started that journey in the car of my mother. We're driving together. My dad is in the front seat. My sister is next to me. And where you would go, where would you normally go to as a 4-year-old when you were all sitting in the car? To school, maybe to a holiday. What we went to is the hospital. And then, so now you're leading it in. So I grew up in or like, and just to give you a little bit of, is it okay if I just give a little bit of context about my family so you understand the next level transformation even better? Because my mom is like my superhero. Like my mom is like my Mega Mindy. My mom is my Mulan. My mom is like my Cinderella. And my dad, oh my God, my dad. This guy fixed my bike when I had a flat tire. My dad would, and then you would give some examples. And those examples say something about you, because when you say he fixed the rolls of my roller skates, we see something about your personality. Sue would say when he put me back on the back of the horse because she loves horse. So now you tell some stuff about yourself. And this amazing fairy tale ended in that car, that Honda, that red Honda Pacific. Because previous that week, because now you're telling it from the car. Your entire story is you telling from the car, but you're going a flashback back to the car, flashback back to the car, fast forward back to the car. Do you see what I mean with that? So your whole entire 15 minutes could literally be your car ride. And then in the car, you
which is a
explain.
very good point, because it starts in the car. It starts my mother my mother doing her thing in the car. And then and then my father taking us to a friend's house. And then social services picking us up and taking us to social services. And then me going to my aunt's house in the car to get my aunt. And then going back in the car to so yeah, so it's in the car, which is interesting. I never even saw that. It's all in
And
the car.
what could be interesting, because I do get that you're thinking about a specific car ride, right? And then there's a difference between telling the story in every single detail that is true and is exactly what happened on a chronological level. And then there's more the time traveling, where the car ride becomes a metaphor, becomes a picture statement, right? So as a listener, what do you think is most important? And this is an easy question, but the point is maybe harder to grasp, is what is more important? For me to go to my emotional journey around the feelings that I feel about certain things, or understanding that you went to your uncle, your aunt, like what the exact road was that you rode. The
No,
first one or the second,
the first one, the picture.
right? So sometimes it's not per se necessary to go through every single step of what exactly happened. Sometimes it's interesting to look at a journey and like what are the most important parts of that story, and those should go into depth. So what I just did is I kind of said like we're on a journey together. My journey started in this car. Let me give you a little context about everything. So now you're telling about your mom, now you're telling about your dad, but you're doing that in pictures so other people start to feel like, oh, that's kind of like my family too. And then my story completely, or like my fairy tale completely fell down in this freaking car ride. Because where we ended was the hospital. And after some tests, the doctor said, what's your mom's name?
Nilsa, like me, Nilsa.
Wow, wow, wow. The doctor said Nilsa, not to be, but my mom. We have the same name. Nilsa, you have depression. You're you are you are. Now for this Nilsa, what happened? Who else had a moment in your life where you were living the fairy tale, but everything went sideways?
So
Something external happened.
I'm engaging the audience. That's what you're saying.
Exactly,
So blah, blah,
exactly.
blah, just bring,
Yes. And now you're getting it back to the audience. So now there's a beautiful point. Who else had this moment? A moment in your personal life where something external hit you. A moment in your business life where something happened. Where you were maybe just as me in the financial industry and COVID hit and you saw the numbers drop down. The moment where I lived in New York and the Twin Towers got this and we had to. So now these stories become like one sentence, making the same point. Do you see what I'm doing over here? So you have one scene, you really go to read it into the scene. Now the scene can be the car. I'm just giving that as a suggestion. I think that's a cool one to start with. And you time travels like just like that, just like that, just like that. Who else had this? Well, I can tell you, it was painful. But as a did like was there like a beautiful moment on the other side? Like on the other side, what I discovered with the version that I am today is that so many different golden nuggets came out of that experience. Whether you're in the shit, you're getting the shit, but you don't know it yet. So you can anticipate. Or whether you're on the other side, I want to share 3 specific things that you can do to accelerate that journey or even get more out of the experience. So you don't have to sit in your crap. You can utilize the crap and use it as fertile ground for your next level of growth. Who's excited for that? Right? And now you're starting to share these 3 things. The first thing is blah, 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 blah. Second thing, blah, blah, blah. The third thing, blah, blah, blah. Does that resonate? Does it,
oh,
what?
perfectly. That's next step for next cohort. Yeah, I got it. But I'll get
No,
it
you're
all.
doing really, really well. And what I really love, I know you also said it, right? Like you're going to create your story library. And I would highly, highly advise it because um, when we talk about the visual, the auditory, and the kinesthetic, you remember that we talked about it a little while ago?
Visual, audio, and
And
chemistry.
kinesthetic. So kinesthetic is more feeling based. Auditorian is more sequential, like A, B, C, 1, 2, 3, and then visual is more, okay, let's go. Like very black and white explained. Like which one do you feel you are more of?
I'm more sequential
Yeah. So
because
the
I'm
story,
math. That's math. That's how I think. I think in that
exactly,
order.
exactly. So step number 1 is the hook. Step number 2 is the story. Step number 3 are the teaching points. Step number 4 is the wrap up of the story. And step number 5 is the close and call to action.
Okay.
So when you start to go through your story library, you will start to see the numbers through the story, if that makes sense. So it's written in a very specific way where you can plug and play them into your story. And the beauty is you already did this in this talk. So you created when your mom got sick, you included the Africa, you included the financial crash, you included really good picture statements. You flew in different planes with your husband because what happened in Twin Towers. At some point you said, I was really overwhelmed, like my pants didn't fit anymore. That was a beautiful picture statement. So you're doing it so well, and every time you become more um, aware of the steps, and it's beautiful, honestly, to watch you, Nilsa. You're doing absolutely fantastic. I loved that you were using different glasses. Was so fun. And it's so you always have these super cool glasses. So that's also a part of your personality, right? The coolness is already the glasses. It's already what you show. It's already what you're using.
That or Botox, so I decided the glasses for now.
Sorry?
I say the glasses or Botox, so I decided to do the glasses. You
What
know,
a
but
bono?
the Botox is what women are
Oh,
putting in their
Botox.
face so they look
I
younger.
see.
So I don't like needles. So I'm like, for now I'm gonna do the fun glasses and then
It's super cool. You look epic. You truly do. So for
did
you
you
to
hear did you
feel
hear the part about the foster home? Should I take that out? Is that not
which part exactly?
at the beginning? This at the beginning of the speech, I said to them, let's start where we left off. And I take them to the scene when my mother gets back from the hospital and my father is questioning my mom why she got sick. So both right there, they both shifted their identity. And then I go and then we wind up in a foster care system and I'm fighting. I have this energy to fight, to negotiate. And then
So when you would say what your 3 points are, Nilsa, what would it be? The first one is
for me, the after this journey, it's self-discovery. We put ourselves in boxes, like we want to be successful and we didn't even have a definition for that. We want to have abundance and we don't have a definition. So during this journey of chasing these things, we realize that that is not what we really want. So there's a self-discovery to find meaning,
yeah.
to start asking you the primary questions. Why are you here? Why are you here now in the 21st century? What is the meaning? What is the purpose? And once you discover who you are, you keep always going back because it's an evolution.
Yeah.
Cell phones get upgraded like every year. So the human person has to be upgraded. And that's when you find that's when you start creating and innovating, because there's so many possibilities, and that's where you decide you're going to do a business, a nonprofit, and then I take them through that process. And at the end, it's all about legacy. And I ask them, when does legacy start? Does it start when you're a child? Does it start when you're an adult? Or when does it start? Does it even matter?
So when the 3 teaching points, the first thing I hear is the
Self-discovery.
self-discovery, right? And what I'm hearing as well is create a definition. So what you could do is the first step is because self-discovery is a term, right? I don't know what to do. And what I heard you say after is create your definition. We wanted abundance. We didn't know what it meant. So you can say that around your story. You know, our definition of success was you don't get sick or something. But after all this happened, our definition changed. What is your definition of success? Because if you don't know what success means to you, we'll never grasp it. Step number 2, right? So that could be one. Then you said legacy. What is step number two?
Number two is that once you have a definition of the purpose that you're here, and then
Yeah.
let's go to number two is the creation and innovation.
Yes. Yes.
We're here to create and innovate. And there's infinite possibilities, and that's something that Deepak Chopra says all the time. So as we create whatever it is, creating business, creating nonprofit, but
This is absolutely
take,
great.
let's take it to blue sky, up, high, forward. Let's push it forward. Let's scale. And then I started talking about the Stanford Business School, the professor who gives the tools so we can scale companies, because the more money you have, the more you can give. And then I talk about Tony Robbins business mastery. I talk about I
Yeah.
get them into Tony
I
Robbins.
like this. I like this. So what is then step number three?
And number three is at the end of the day, for me, is legacy.
Yeah.
We're here for a time. And when we're 100, 120, we can look back and say, I did this. I transformed so many lives.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
A legacy. That's
So what I would suggest, because I'm looking at the time because I have another call like coming up soon, is when you create the next level story that you're going to do tomorrow, what would be my invitation is that when we ask people what were Nilsa's three steps, that everybody will say the first one is, and when you call it self-discovery, that can be, I wrote down here, create a definition, because I think it's more specific so people know what to do. So, step number one, step number two, create and innovate. And step number three, build your legacy. So now, knowing that this is the aim, right? The aim is your product. The way to get there are these three steps. Now the stories around it will facilitate those three steps. So now the story around the car, the everything that you went through is okay. First, our definition, or we did not self-discover. Now we found this out. Our new definition of success is, what is yours? What is your definition of success? Step number two, we started to create. And can we agree that sometimes you have to be the creator of your life? Because if I would have not have done that, like what happened is foster care, this, if I would not have created, where do you end up? I don't know what you're going through right now. I really don't. And I don't know what you're going through emotionally. And I really don't. And I want to have empathy for you, but I can say you one thing. If you keep sitting in your own shit, it's gonna stink. We have to create our own destiny. And then you tell a little bit more about the story. So what are you gonna change right now? Step number three is build your legacy. I lived in foster care.
no,
My
I didn't.
parent,
No, I didn't live there.
sorry.
I negotiated myself out of that one.
I negotiated myself out of foster care. Like I could have ended up in foster care,
I could have, yes.
right? So now I
Okay.
could have ended in foster care. And now I'm standing right in front of you, being like a speaker, a business owner, this, financial crisis, legacy. Well, and why I do this, the legacy I'm building. What's your legacy? Right? So now these three topics become the through line of your story. Does it
All
make
right.
sense?
Yes.
So for you, the next steps, I would say, Nilsa, is like, what are the three? You know the three steps. So how can you make those three steps clearer through your story? So when I and everybody else goes through it, we're like, okay, number one, number two, number three, because it will help. It will help the audience remember. And then out of all the stories you have, how can you pick one that's going to be your most zoomed in story? And the rest could be add-ons to that.
Okay. Got it. I'm back to the starting point, but that's fine.
Nah, you're not. You're in a spiral and you're next level. You're really doing well, Nilsa.
Thank you.
Really. I'm not smoking blowing smoke.
I
Like you
know
really are. Yeah.
you.
And in the session later today, when you're able to watch in, we are going to talk about this. So it might be fun to just like let it through and then like soak it in and then see how this works for you.
Okay, I got it. Perfect. Oh my God, thank you so much. Thank God that we did the call.
Yeah, you feel more
Oh, well, I'm gonna write it. Now I'm gonna sit down and write it.
yeah, beautiful.
And I'll read it again a couple times and I'll have
Yeah.
my Word document with me in case I get lost. But my goal is to let it, I got it. I got it.
You got it. You totally
It's a
got it.
I mean, it's a practice. That's how I see it.
It is. It is. And it's fun. Like, I don't know if you save first do your thing and then I'll send you not only this recording but also the last one again and you can compare them. You know,
Oh, that's nice.
you're doing incredible.
I'm excited. Good.
Super. All right. Have fun practicing and see you later.
The ultimate goal is to find the stories that will transform people's lives.
Yeah.
And at one point in this journey is to also tell women that doesn't matter how old they are to get up from the freaking sofa and start moving their butts and do something.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
do something. You have this mind full of life experience, and now you're gonna waste away in front of the TV. If I've ever become president of the United States, I'm pulling out all the TVs and all the sofas. They're gone. They're
See,
gone.
this is cool. This is part of your story library, build legacy. When I would be president of the United, what would you change? And what can you implement right now in your own life already? There's no, so these are beautiful things. This is so much about you. Have
This
you
is
watched?
me. This is me
Yeah.
with no filters. If I become president of the United States, the first thing I'm doing is picking up all the sofas and the TVs out. And
Perfect.
I'm gonna gift everybody a pair of sneakers. And let's go. Let's
So,
go.
so for after tomorrow, what I would say is watch the story library part. It's also in the course, so you can really
Yes.
create it. And I would incentivize you to create like 3 stories a day. This is one. And the more you start to open yourself up, because we're starting in January, you really have some time to let this sink in and create your story blocks, create your story library, really go all in into that. Because once you start to notice what the stories are, this is going to be so much fun, and you have so many. That's the beautiful part. It's just about picking the right ones, and it
Well,
you're
it's picking them and making them. This is like cooking. You're adding the salt and the pepper. You can't overdo it. And if
yeah,
you cook, it's a well, I'll get it. I'll get it.
yeah, you get it.
I'll get
Absolutely.
it.
All
Thank you
right,
so
have
much.
fun
See you
practicing and
later.
see
See
you
you
later
later.
today. Ciao,
Bye-bye.
ciao.
Bye.